Welcome to DHN. I'm your host, Wade Teamer. We're talking XRP in this video. A new ODL corridor has been opened up in Africa thanks to MFS, guys. And here's the interesting thing about this story. It's the fact that Ripple is tapping into the mobile money market. This video, I'm going to package it in a unique way. We're going to start with the Ripple story. Okay. And then in the middle, I'm going to show you how mobile money, the transition in Africa is occurring, as well as the cross-border payments landscape. Ripple expands into Africa, partnering with MFS to bring the benefits of crypto-enabled payments to the continent. The leader in enterprise blockchain and crypto solutions announced its entry into Africa in a partnership with MFS, a leading digital payments gateway. The new partnership will see MFS Africa using Ripple's on-demand liquidity solution for crypto-enabled payments to make it easier than ever for consumers and businesses in Africa to make real-time payments with their mobile phones. Now, according to GSMA, Africa accounts for 70% of the world's $1 trillion mobile money value. 70%, ladies and gentlemen. This is the market that Ripple is tapping into. In 2021, the value of Africa's mobile money transactions reached 701.4 billion, a 39% increase from the prior year. Yes, and I can verify these statements because in our Diamond Hustle member group, I like to create these very, highly edited and detailed crypto-related documentaries where we break down the histories of adoption in different parts of the world. One of our most recent videos was centered around crypto adoption in Africa. And I can tell you, these statistics are true, ladies and gentlemen. And this mobile money movement in Africa has been brewing since well before Bitcoin. Honestly, we're talking about 2000s here. Okay. So that's the reason why you should be excited about this story if you're holding XRP, because they're breaking into a $1 trillion market. Let's continue. MFS Africa is a leading payments fintech, which has the largest and widest mobile money movement footprint across the region at a time when mobile money is a significant driver of financial inclusion and has revolutionized access to financial services across Africa. The fintech's payment hub connects over 400 million mobile wallets across 35 African countries while operating in more than 800 payment corridors on the continent. So, this isn't just a small startup VC that Ripple has partnered with in Africa. This is a leading payment infrastructure provider here. All right. Now we're going to take this, we're going to dig levels into this. Let me show you what else I got here. So this was a secondary blog post that Ripple posted, but it also gives us some very detailed information here about the market we're dealing with. According to the UN, Africa boasts a $2.7 trillion market opportunity. That $2.7 trillion opportunity, people are paying attention to, guys. Okay. And with everything that is going on with FTX and the exchanges here in the States, don't let that stuff distract you from what's actually happening with these crypto and blockchain projects. Things like this. Okay. There are much bigger issues that are actively being addressed with blockchain. I think it's safe to say that we are in that era now. That's just what it is. We are still, speculation is still a large part of it. But I've been in a space so long to where now I can tell you I've seen the transition from this being a trading centric type of industry where the main information was centered around charts and analysis and things like that, to a paradigm line of thinking where people are now more focused on what are these coins actually doing? The entities where all the money is coming from, that's how they're approaching crypto. And that's how I'm looking at crypto. And that's how I want you to look at crypto. So welcome to the network. Mobile money users in Africa have grown exponentially in recent years. The number of users worldwide is expected to reach 70% of the global population. So what they're saying is this mobile money movement is going to start in Africa, but by 2030, 2025 even, this is going to be a global phenomenon. The future payment system, your mobile device is going to be your connector. So you want to watch out for those type of applications too. And as a matter of fact, Ripple They held a number of events this year where it were hackathon events where they recruited developers, brought them in order to build products on the XRP ledger and RippleNet, right? Three of those products centered around a connection, an interface where you can plug it into your mobile device and it connects you to a CBDC service. It connects you to a stablecoin service. Basically, those applications are here. They're on Ripple. They're running. And as a matter of fact, we're going to have an example of an application running on XLM later in this video. Let's wrap this up here. I want to keep showing you the real life reflections here. Let's jump over. Well, I got one more quote here. This is just showing you again how deep MFS goes. Africa's younger population in particular has seen a burgeoning interest in mobile devices, connecting them to the broader online community and offering a new way to process ATM transactions. Mobile phones also act as an entryway for rural communities to engage with these online resources. Nigeria has recognized this impact and has reduced the nation's sales tax on these devices, which increased sales by more than 200%. So that is an added element that is coming from outside the industry that is making it easier for the adoption to go in a certain direction. Now, this little piece right here, here's where things are going to start to go global. All right, because another thing that I learned while putting together that report of crypto adoption in Africa is that Europe has a very interesting history when it comes to Africa's financial development. Okay, and reading this report here, it's called the State of the Industry Report on Mobile Money. This is brought to us by the GSMA, a global organization unifying the mobile ecosystem to discover and drive innovation, so forth and so on. But what I want you to see, okay, is that this mobile money program is supported by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, very close to Ripple, aren't they? Very interesting. But what's even more interesting, we go down to page 48 here, and let me take a shortcut. All that scrolling gets annoying, you're doing it all day. But I want to take you down to page 48 here, okay? This is when we see the ultimate keyword for the decade, Sustainable Development Goals, Agenda 2030, all right? Contribution of the GSMA Mobile Money API to Sustainable Development Goals. Now, what this is essentially is GSMI created their own API, which is Application Programming Interface. It's code to program other code, okay? But it's this fact that they are incorporating this into the Sustainable Development Goals, all right? That adds more credence to the mobile money movement in Africa, because if you zoom out and you look at the rest of the world, they're all lining up with these goals. So that's just one small thing. Wanted to add that to you. Here's where things really start to accelerate. A Frexine bank seeks to ease cross-border payments with Continental Platform. In partnership with the African Union and the AFCFTA, they want to reduce the cost of Pan-African transactions by $5 billion per year. Now, I did have the rest of this article accessed, but when the page got refreshed and I turned on my screen recorder, I guess it kicked me out. So that's how you guys feel. I'm not paying you $9.99 to read one paragraph. But what you'll learn if you have access to this, and when I read it, is that this is essentially, it's going to introduce a payment system. It's going to be called PAPPS. It's the same thing as the FedNow Instant Payment Service. One of the banks that will be participating in the initial launch of the payment system, MFS. Goes to show you just how deep Ripple just went with this one. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I got a little bit more for you. This is just to show you what's all going on in Africa when it comes to cross-border payments, fintech, things like that. Okay, so we have Spin, which is a Denmark-based fintech. However, they're operating mobile money wallets in Africa, and this is a partnership through MasterCard. But get this, take a gander at when it's going to be released. The Spin MasterCard virtual card will be rolled out in 2023, initially in Zambia and then across other African markets, including Rwanda, Tanzania, and Nigeria. And we just read how Nigeria reduce the sales tax on mobile phones in order to increase the amount of mobile phones being purchased. The pieces. Okay, it's the pieces, guys. But here's another one, right? This is what ties in the crypto element, because we already know MasterCard is not an enemy of crypto. Okay, they definitely have their relationships, but Spin's relationship with MasterCard started in 2021 when Spin Technology entered and won the MasterCard Lighthouse MASSIB program, which was just an accelerator for fintech focused startups, right? Year later, Spin was selected to participate in the Start Path Crypto, MasterCard's blockchain-focused startup engagement platform, providing access to partnership opportunities, insight, and tools to grow. The partnership with MasterCard will help advance its worldwide commitment to financial inclusion and pledge to bring a total of 1 billion or 50 million micro and small businesses, 25 million women entrepreneurs into the digital economy by 2025. I read that last sentence because it draws us back to our, let's get it back here, Sustainable Development Goals. And as you can see here, gender equality is one of them. Women's economic empowerment, increased GDP, formalization of MEMEs, which is medium enterprises, right? And cross-border payments. You saw that through Afrmex Bank's headline. So again, this is what I like to show you on this channel. All right. We're not just going to go. I'm not going to come on this camera and tell you XRP is going to 589 in every video. That would be a waste of my time, and I don't do that. All right. So that's what the slogan is for. The money is digital, so it's the hustle. Okay. So that means I don't have no time to waste. Now, we got one more thing here, and this is going to lead us into XLM. All right. Watch how I do this. Euronet Worldwide partners with AE Trade Group to build landmark real-time cross-border payment solution for the African continent. We just got one paragraph here, but it calls into play the AFCFTA that we were just talking about in relation to Afrmex Bank. The Euronet Powers Payment Switch will serve as a financial foundation for an initial 44 of the 54 possible countries in the African Continental Free Trade Area. That connects a population of about 1.4 billion people with a combined GDP of approximately 3.4 trillion. Utilizing Euronet's REN payment technology, not to be confused with the REN cryptocurrency, trust me, I looked. The switch will enable central banks, regional processors, financial institutions, and regional mobile wallets, i.e. the M-Pesa, and small and medium enterprises to easily make transactions with each other in real time and bring new banking benefits and capabilities to African citizens. So the M-Pesa, another thing that I learned about Africa when I was doing that report, is that the M-Pesa had a very large European influence. One of the biggest forms of currency in Africa, besides airtime, which we'll get to in a second, it was part of a UK urban development program, financial development program, centered around financial inclusion. So that ties it back to those sustainable development goals for 2030. So here's when you can begin to speculate a little bit with this relationship in Africa. Let's say it progresses, which we know it will. What if we come across a situation in the future where the M-Pesa and XRP begin a relationship? Because it was the M-Pesa and Bitcoin that came together in 2013 that essentially paved the way for the Luno exchange, which is one of the largest crypto exchanges in Africa. If it wasn't for Luno, Binance would not be able to come in and make their move. Neither would Coinbase. Okay. So that's another thing to take away from this development here with MFS, is that now Ripple is one step closer to the M-Pesa. And that's where you want to be. All right. But like I said in the beginning, their ultimate rival, all right, or best friend, I'm not sure at this point, they keep popping up in the same place. Stellar Lumens, serving 8 billion people as a virtual debit card, thanks to this new partnership. And we're getting this from Crypto News Flash, guys. I converted the article into a PDF because it was full of ads, and I hate those. And I know you guys don't like them either. So By leveraging the power of the Stellar Lumens chain, Fawn Bank will provide financial on-ramps in cash-based economies. With Stellar, Fawn Bank will convert prepaid SIM cards into virtual debit cards and tokenize prepaid airtime credits into tokens named MIN, which can then be turned into the USDC stablecoin. Now, what's interesting about Stellar's relationship in Africa is that it goes back. And it goes back around the same times as the Naira, which is the digital currency for Nigeria, one of the first CBDCs to ever be launched in the world. It was developed by BIT. And the co-founder of BIT, I can't recall the name at this exact moment, but he invented essentially the system of central bank digital currencies. So that's the context here. Okay, every time you hear Stellar in Africa, just look up the BIT Foundation, BITT. Okay. That's the ultimate connection you need to make. Now, when it comes to the airtime situation, again, in that report on Africa that our Diamond Hustle members get access to, I learned how important airtime is in Africa. I was going to say was, but still is. When Africa went through a mobile money revolution, this was around early 2000s, airtime minutes, phone minutes, were initially being used as a form of currency. That system wasn't the most efficient for small to medium enterprises and larger corporations that wanted to get involved in Africa, especially tech companies. So what happened was through a relationship with Safaricom and Vodafone, they created the M-Pesa. And shortly after the M-Pesa launch, Safaricom created a way for the M-Pesa to be convertible to airtime minutes, right? So that's the origin, that's the source of what Stellar is doing with Fawn Bank with this application, right? Well, let's keep reading because it brings up more facts and that's another reason why I structured this video this way. So that way you can get XRP and then you can get the real world correlation. And then by the time we get to Stellar, it just all makes sense. You need to buy both of them. Okay. Now, by leveraging its existing network of mobile phone accounts, Fawn Bank plans to provide financial on-ramps in cash-based economies. Even in 2022, nearly 350 million people in Africa don't have access to bank accounts, and only 20% of families have formal bank accounts. From their study, Fawn Bank found that 64% of sub-Saharan Africans have at least one smartphone as of 2021. Most of these smartphones use prepaid SIM cards and will buy data as per their requirements. Compared to other forms of mobile money, airtime is readily accessible in Africa and treated as a de facto currency. Now, this really makes me think, just quick segue here, there was leading up to 2020, as a matter of fact, C word and slightly during C word and then post C word, it really wasn't heard about, but those government phones, used to call them Obama phones. You guys remember those? I think in a way they were trying to do that here as kind of, and it resembled what was going on in Africa. Okay, because those minute phones days, that's all you really got was a phone and a SIM card. And then we would later find out that those phones are being tracked, but that's a whole different topic of discussion. The point is here, this technology that Stellar is focusing into is very applicable. It is being used, it's proven, and it's tested. Okay. And from a product standpoint, that's what you want to see your project working on. Now, it also highlights the fact that, yes, the mobile money movement is very big. And what I like about this particular setup with Fawn Bank and XLM is it's directly focusing on those SIM cards, right? And the conversion to USDC, well, that's just, I think that largely has something to do with not only USDC being native to the Stellar ecosystem and their relationship with MoneyGram, but MoneyGram's influence in Africa as well. I also just did a video about stablecoin arrangements and how deep this situation is getting. So to see applications like this, and then here's another point too, last point I want to leave you with. I remember when Fawn Bank participated in a hackathon for Stellar early in 2021, I believe. Okay. Now, a year later, things have progressed, and this is the type of things that comes from those hackathons. Okay. So when you're reading about crypto and you see a hackathon, read into it, pay close attention. India is currently accelerating their process with CBDCs. XDC has had 4 hackathons in India this year. Keep an eye out for that. But I am always interested in hearing your thoughts. Okay. That's how we grow as a community, as a team, as a network of hustlers. So feel free, leave a comment down below. If you found value, of course, hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget about the notification bell because that helps you get alerted when we post another video. Also, of course, you don't want to forget about the coldest stocking stuffer of all time, the DHN Crypto Journal for 2023. All right. We got a lot of things to learn about in the crypto space going forward. That's the perfect tool for you. Don't forget about the Diamond Hustle memberships. Again, we made a lot of mentions about what type of content we focus on in the membership group. So if you're interested in that, click the join button on this video for more information. With that, you know what I'm about to tell you. Have a great day. Have a prosperous day. And most importantly, if that money is digital, so is the hustle. I'll see y'all in the next video.